Hey Travis, here's some feedback for you. I took the clips and messed with them and tried them out, and I know you came out, or your folks came up with the ability to hinge the leg in here. Let's see if I can do this and hold my GoPro. So I know you came up with, or somebody at your company came up with the idea to hinge the leg to create more force, but the only issue is the leg is still really flexible, right? If I can do this, the leg is still really flexible. So even though the leg now hinges in, because the leg that it's attached to is still on the flimsy side, it really doesn't create any noticeable difference in its ability to hold when used as a shingle tab. And the only other drawback now is when you do shingle tab it with that leg, it tilts it down some. So now the lower part down here doesn't even really touch the shingle. All of the shingle point of friction is right here, so it actually tends to tilt it down a smidgen. Like I said, in general, it really didn't make any noticeable improvement in how it bites onto the shingle. Now, I think where your money is to be made in improving this significantly is to actually make this leg itself, let me undo it here, is to make this actual lower leg thicker. I mean, the clips come off the gutters extremely easily, where there's a lot of wiggle room for the clip to clamp more firmly onto the gutters. And it would actually be a plus where nobody's going to complain that the clips come off the gutters too firmly. So I think if you actually were to put more plastic on this bottom leg, so it's more like the top leg, you would actually be able to get that extra biting power that you need. It would also be a plus as far as how they attach to the gutters, because right now they're a little on the soft side with how they attach to the gutters, where a little bit more biting power would be a good thing. I'm not sure if you can notice, I actually experimented. I took your tab here that would bite to the shingle or bite to the outside of the gutter and actually filed it down to a point just to see if that would help. And actually did help a little bit. Like some of the other people that make their version of this clip, they also have a barb on theirs, but in their case, their plastic is really a hard plastic, and their pointed barb is actually a problem, where when you take the thing off the gutters, it sounds like somebody dragging their fingernails across the chalkboard. But your plastic is totally different. It's more of a pliable, softer plastic. Like in the landscape industry, they make something called a Pro Slide that it's like a Selkie or a Velkie that you ride on behind a lawnmower. And it's actually made out of pretty similar looking plastic to this, where it actually slides across the lawn. I think that's pretty much how your plastic is extremely similar. So I think if you actually tweak this a little bit more, make this thin bottom leg resemble more like this top one where it's thicker plastic, and create more clamping power, it'll actually be better on the gutters, and it will be a legitimate shingle tab clip, where right now I think you're still going to get some user pushback that when people are putting it on shingles, especially if they're doing it on houses that have the 25 or 20-year shingle, those are actually the same thing. They just started calling 20-year shingles 25, but it's still a 20-year, thinner shingle. On 30-year shingles, these actually don't do that bad. But once again, I have had some come off where a little bit more additional biting power will definitely make everybody want to use it, where nobody has any issues or any complaints. So hopefully all this feedback will help. When I was a student, I actually wanted to be a civil engineer or structural engineer, wanted to be, I guess you could say, and ended up going in a different direction. But I definitely tend to evaluate things more than your average person. And I also tried the sliding over the bulb feature, and I don't think that's really going to catch on. It is a good little extra selling point, but it does take a lot of force to pop it over the bulb. When I popped it over the bulb, it actually went over the bulb and down onto the actual socket, where I had to slide it back onto the bulb. Now, the second time I popped it onto the bulb, it actually went much easier. So in general, I think most people like me were probably still going to screw it into the bulb, but there's no negative, I guess, with changing the design. It seems to still be, pretty durable. But I think if you can just tweak this leg and make it thicker and give it more holding power for the gutter and the shingle, I know changing the molds is expensive, but I think that's where your money's going to be made. Is this lower leg is just too flimsy. Doesn't really matter that you change this to hinge to give you the more biting power. It really didn't work, because now the lower leg that's flimsy just flexes more. So it really didn't create the intended goal of creating more clamping power. Still plan on ordering some clips, and hopefully this feedback will help. Like I said, I tend to evaluate things way more than your average holiday lighting guy. So hopefully this helps. Thanks, bye.